In this movie, we're going to begin to talk about how we can retouch this photograph. And here I have this reference layer. If you turn that on, there's the final retouching. Now, we're not going to go through all the retouching steps, but what we are going to do is begin to talk about how we can improve the visual interest on this photograph. So we're going to click in the background layer. And one of the things that we're going to do is try to increase the symmetry in this photograph. Now, this particular principle is kind of interesting. You may not actually do this on people that often, but in retouching and in Photoshop work, you'll find that this technique will be valuable in a wide range of situations. All right, well, let's go ahead and grab our marquee tool and then make a selection of the left side, or at least our left side of the face here. Then we're going to copy this to a new layer. Command-J on a Mac, Control-J on a PC. We're going to go ahead and name this jaw for the jawline. What we want to do is use this nice jawline here because the jaw on the right is a little bit puffy. Well, we need to flip this layer. There are a couple of different ways that we can do this. One way is by way of free transform. This is a nice little handy shortcut to have in your bag of tricks. Press Command-T if you're on a Mac, Control-T on a PC. Then right-click or Control-click and choose Flip Horizontal. Now, when you do that, it flips the image, and then all we need to do is double-click to apply that. Okay, great. What we're going to do is bring in this side of the face over here to the right side. And then we're going to create a mask. I just want to try to find the right position. I'll turn this on and off and kind of look at the jawline that I'm seeing in the background there. I'll just go ahead and try to find a nice spot for that. Okay, great. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing too is that I may want to rotate this just a touch here. So I'm going to go ahead and free transform this and rotate it a little bit. Command-T on a Mac, Control-T on a PC. And just bring in this top point. As we do that, we're changing the shape of this jawline. And then we can go ahead and begin to just rotate it a little bit. We'll move that center point down to registration point, press Enter or Return. Okay, great. Well, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and reposition this a little bit. And then click on the Add Layer Mask icon. Now that we've done that, we'll grab our brush tool. Press the B key for the brush tool. We're going to paint with black, 100% opacity. Make our brush nice and big. What we're going to do is just first work on all of these big edges here. And then we'll bring in a little bit of the hair from the underline layer. And we'll make our way through this portion of the image as well. And go ahead and get close to that edge there. A little bit of that darker edge underneath there. All right, for the most part, we're doing good. Here's our before and then after. So I'll just go ahead and continually mask this off here. Go back and forth, hit the X key if I need to. Bring in a little bit of the new one, and we can kind of blend these together just a touch, trying to get the best of both worlds in this case. And then here we have our before and then after. And there probably are a few other little edges that might be nice to clean up. But I think for the most part, we're going in a good direction with this new jawline there. Okay, great. Well, now that we've done that, we've increased the visual symmetry just a touch. Let me mask off the chin there. I don't want to modify that too much. I do just want to bring in that jawline a bit. That's all we've done really, right? Just tighten that up just a bit there. And I'll hit the X key and paint on my mask, not paint on the image. All right, okay. Enough's enough. You get the gist on what we're doing there. Next thing I want to do is begin to work on the eyes. Well, I have an eye that's really good here, so let's copy that to a new layer. Command-J on a Mac, Control-J on a PC. Click in the mask, and we'll navigate to Edit, Fill, and we're going to fill with white. Click OK. Now we have everything. Well, now that we have everything, I want to teach you a real valuable masking trick. Here it is. We're going to turn off our underlying layers. What I want is I want to be able to use this eye. If I fill this mask with black, I can't see where to paint in the eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with white as we've done, and then paint with black to mask away this area. Well, now that that's gone, I have the opposite of what I need. No big deal, right? Invert it. You can do that in the mask panel or by way of shortcut. Now I have the eye. It's just a real nice quick way to select what you need. Well, now that we have that, we can then click in this layer, and we're going to reposition this, and I'm just going to use my arrow keys here. I'm just going to look to try to bring that into the same position here. Here's my before and then after. And then I'll press Command-T on a Mac, Control-T on a PC. I'm going to look to rotate this one a little bit. So I move that registration point. Then I'll press Enter or Return to apply that. And again, before and then after. And again, all that this is doing for us is just opening that eye up a little bit, adding that visual symmetry. And in this case, we're creating a photograph that's a little bit more of an illustration, right? We're not going for realism here. And here's our before and after. Now, my own preference is not to really use this technique on my people photographs. Yet the principle I do use quite often. And the principle is when retouching, if you have good content, try to reuse that good content in other areas of your photographs. And that could really help up in your basic cleanup work and in other ways. All right, well, let's keep going with the symmetry thing. What about the lips? Let's click in our background layer. What we're going to do here is make a selection of the lips. So we'll use the same tool, the marquee tool. We'll go ahead and select the right side of the lips here because I kind of like how those are turned up. Press Command-J on a Mac, Control-J on a PC, then Command-T or Control-T. And then all these little steps, right? Control-click or right-click, and here you can choose Flip Horizontal. And they're short little steps, but those are all really worthwhile. And we'll reposition this over here on the right-hand side. What we're going to try and do is just line these lips up and bring in a little bit of that symmetry. Now we'll click on the Add Layer Mask icon. One thing that could be interesting is just to invert this mask from the get-go and then grab our brush tool, paint with white, 100% there. And we'll just look to try to bring in these lips a little bit of that expression there. And I'll go ahead and paint the top part of the lip as well. Then I'll make this a little bit smaller, hit the X key to mask out this area here. All right, so all that I'm doing here, if we look at our before and then after, just adding a little bit of that visual symmetry there. That's not looking great in my opinion, so I'm going to go ahead and just make my way through this, just seeking to try to make it look a little bit better, and then nudge that around perhaps. I think I maybe was a little bit too high there. Then press Command-T on a Mac, Control-T on a PC. If you hold down the Command key, you can pinch this in a little bit and move those corner points so it's not exactly perfect, one-to-one, but here we have our before and then our after. Just a little bit of a different look there. Click in that mask, grab our brush tool, and I'll just mask off the effect on the teeth here. We don't need to affect those teeth too much. And before and after, it's too far over to the right. Let me move that in. Just got to find a good spot for it, don't we? Here's our before and after. A couple more times. Before and then after. Great. Now just a little bit more mask work. A lot of give and take with this type of technique, huh? All right, well, let's zoom in a little bit here so we can see how we're doing. Our overall before and then after. Really interesting way to begin to retouch and add a little bit of visual interest by adding symmetry. Zooming out one more time. Here is our before and then after.